Good morning. I want to share something this morning that the Lord was dealing with me this morning. But before I share it, I'm going to read a scripture and then I'll talk about it. This is Jesus speaking here in Luke chapter 11. It says, "The lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is good, your whole body is full of light. But when your eye is bad, your whole body also is full of darkness. Therefore, take heed that the light which is in you is not darkness. If then your whole body is full of light, having no part dark, the whole body will be full of light, as when the bright shining of a lamp gives you light." This morning, I started watching a show on, I believe it was Prime or something, and it was something that a coworker recommended to me. And it doesn't matter what the show was, but it's kind of a historical thing. So I started watching the first episode, and I got 5 minutes into it, and there's just a lot of filthy language and a lot of just violence and stuff. And, it's easy to just sit there and just say, well, and justify it. But, sometimes when you get the Spirit of God just gently tugging at you and just kind of saying, hey, what are you doing? Have you ever had that? And the scripture came to mind. It's like, what am I taking in through my eyes? What are we looking at? What are we allowing to come through, in our lives, through what we see, through what we desire? Jesus said, that the lamp of the body is the eye. And the thing is, what we take in is what's going to come out. And we wonder sometimes, there's that old saying, garbage in, garbage out. What we take in is what's going to come out. The scripture says, I believe in Galatians, it says, that we reap what we sow. We sow corruption, we reap corruption. And it's like we don't realize that some of the things we take in, mostly it's things we see on TV or something. We take those in, and then that gets inside of us. And, and then we wonder why, we don't grow spiritually. We wonder why we don't, have the relationship with Jesus that we want. And I'm not condemning anybody who watches some of these shows, because you know what? I'm guilty. I watched some stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm selective on what I watch, but you know what? I have been praying. I'll be honest here. I have been praying, Lord, help me to obey you. Give me a heart to obey you. Give me a heart to obey when your Spirit tells me, and moves me to be more like you. It's one thing to pray, God, make me more like you. And Lord, help me to be, more in tune with what you want me to do, more in tune with your will. It's one thing to say that. But then when the Spirit really starts moving in our hearts, we have to choose to obey. And for me this morning, it was just this little thing. It was a show on TV. And I started watching it, and there's all these words, and I had to make a choice and say, well, am I going to keep watching it and just justify it? Or I'm going to stop and say no, and obey the Spirit and say, no, I'm not going to put that junk inside of me. I'm not going to let that enter through my eye gate. Instead, I'm going to fill it with something else. And right now, I got some Christian music playing in the background on my Spotify account. But you know what? I want to fill my life with Jesus. I want to fill my life with things that are godly. The scripture says, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. Think on these things. And you know what? I'm not saying that, I'm Mr. Spiritual, I'm suddenly getting everything right. But you know what? I want to be that way. I want to be a person who submits to the Lord in everything. I've been praying. I've been asking God, Lord, help me to obey your Spirit. Help me to obey when you tell me to do something or not to do something. And my encouragement to you is, do you want a relationship that goes deeper with God? Really pray and ask him, Lord, help me. Make me willing to obey when you tell me something. And then follow through with it and obey and watch. Fill your life with light and light will come out. That's what the scripture says. Let your body be filled with light. That's my encouragement to you this morning. And just know I'm not there. I'm not some super spiritual, holier than thou. I'm just someone who I'm learning. I want to be right with God. I want to live for Jesus. And I want to do what he says. And I want to obey when the Spirit tells me to obey. All right. That's it. That's all I got. Have a great day. God bless y'all. Make it a good day in Jesus. Talk to you.